Did you know that Alfred Hitchcock was terrified of eggs? Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, terrified millions with his cinematic genius. But he had a peculiar fear himself. He was scared of eggs. Hitchcock admitted that just seeing a cracked egg filled him with dread. For a man who created films that left audiences on the edge of their seats, this phobia seems completely paradoxical. How could someone who made us fear shower curtains and shadows be afraid of something as ordinary as an egg? It's one of the more surprising secrets of the great master of horror, turtles. Ancient relics with armor from the past. Turtles are among the oldest reptiles on our planet. Their shells are not just armor, but part of their skeleton that has protected them for over 200 million years. They have witnessed dinosaurs come and go, survived ice ages and mass extinctions. Some species can live over 150 years, and leatherback turtles can weigh up to 900 kilograms. They can swim across oceans, covering thousands of kilometers in search of food. Turtles are true masters of survival, carrying their mystery and charm through the ages. Did you know that ants never sleep? Ants are the real workaholics of the insect world. These amazing tiny creatures seem like they are non-stop working machines, constantly on the go without ever pausing to rest. But the truth is, ants don't sleep the way we do. Instead, they take short breaks throughout the day to recharge their energy. Their remarkable strength and impressive teamwork make them one of the most successful and efficient species on Earth. It's truly mind-blowing when you realize just how resilient they are. Did you know that laughter is good for your heart? Laughter is not just a way to lift your mood, but also a great way to keep your heart healthy. Scientists have proven that laughter improves circulation, helps blood vessels expand, and reduces stress levels. It's like a natural medicine that helps your heart work better and longer. So next time you laugh, remember, you're not just improving your mood, but also giving your heart a great gift. Laughter really is the best medicine. Why is the sky blue? The answer lies in science. Have you ever wondered why the sky appears so bright blue? This phenomenon is explained by the scattering of sunlight in the atmosphere. As sunlight passes through the Earth's atmosphere, it collides with gas molecules and scatters in all directions. Blue light has shorter wavelengths, so it scatters more than other colors. This is what makes the sky appear blue to us. It's one of those natural wonders that surround us every day but are often taken for granted. Can you believe that the electric chair was actually invented by a dentist? Believe it or not, the electric chair, one of the most infamous devices in history, was conceived by Alfred P. Southwick, a dentist. Southwick designed the electric chair in the late 19th century as a more humane alternative to hanging. This shocking invention forever changed the history of capital punishment. It's almost ironic to think that a person dedicated to caring for people's teeth would create such a grim device. Why is there a village in China where nearly everyone lives past 100 years? In the Chinese village of Bama, nearly every other resident lives to be 100 years old or more. Scientists believe it's due to the clean air, mineral-rich water, and a diet rich in local herbs and vegetables. The locals also lead active lives, working physically well into old age. Tourists come here hoping to learn the secrets of longevity, but the villagers say the key is harmony with nature and a positive outlook. Why is space black? It's connected to Olbers's paradox, which explains why the sky is dark despite the countless stars in the universe. Though there are many stars, their light doesn't fill all of space for several reasons. First, the universe is expanding, and many stars are moving away from us so fast that their light can't reach Earth. Second, there's a cosmic horizon beyond which we cannot see, making stars beyond that point invisible to us. Incredible but true, the Arctic tern takes the longest journey on Earth. Every year, the Arctic tern embarks on an extraordinary migration from the Arctic to Antarctica and back, covering up to 70,000 kilometers. This incredible bird follows the sun, living in perpetual summer as it flies from one pole to the other. The Arctic tern's migration is the longest of any animal, showcasing not only its endurance, but also its remarkable navigational skills. It's a testament to nature's astonishing adaptability and the lengths some creatures will go to survive. The deadliest earthquake in history. The deadliest earthquake ever recorded struck Shanxi Province, China, on January 23, 1556. This earthquake had a magnitude of about 8 and claimed the lives of more than 800,000 people, causing massive destruction over a vast area. In the aftermath of this catastrophe, the region's approach to construction changed dramatically, leading to improvements in building practices and earthquake resistance. This tragic event reminds us of how nature can drastically alter the fate of entire populations. Did you know that astronauts can't burp in space? In the absence of gravity, our bodily functions behave very differently than on Earth. One of the strange effects is that astronauts cannot burp in space. On Earth, gravity helps separate gas from food in the stomach, allowing us to release air. But in space, without gravity, gases remain mixed with liquids, making burping impossible. In fact, if astronauts tried to drink carbonated beverages, it could lead to rather unpleasant results. It's a small reminder of how much gravity influences our everyday functions and how amazing our bodies are in space conditions. Is it possible? There is a lake in Tanzania where no one swims? Lake Natron, located near the border with Kenya, is known for its extremely high salinity and alkalinity, which turns any animal that ends up in its waters into a mummy. Birds and fish caught in the lake literally turn to stone due to chemical reactions. Although it looks eerie, the lake's stunning red color draws tourists and photographers. Despite its beauty, locals and travelers never dare to venture into its dangerous waters. Did you know that scorpions can glow in the dark? When exposed to ultraviolet light, scorpions begin to glow bright blue-green. This happens due to a substance in their exoskeleton that reacts to ultraviolet light. Scientists are still debating why scorpions have this ability. It might help them hide from predators or serve as a signal to other scorpions. Whatever the reason, it's one of nature's most astonishing phenomena. Have you ever wondered if sand can turn into glass? Glass is made by heating sand to a temperature above 1,400 degrees Celsius, at which point it melts. The result is a material that looks completely different from the original sand. This process was discovered in ancient Egypt and is still used today to make everything from windows to high-tech smartphone screens. So, ordinary sand literally transforms into a transparent material that has changed our world. Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, and now you know the real story behind the name. It's interesting that footprints on the moon will last for millions of years. Due to the lack of atmosphere on the moon, the footprints left by astronauts may remain for millions of years. There is no wind or water on the moon to erase footprints, or even the marks left by spacecraft. This means that the footprints from the Apollo missions, left in the 1960s and 1970s, will remain almost unchanged for millions of years. The moon's surface is like a time capsule of space exploration history. Did you know ketchup was originally sold as medicine? In the 19th century, ketchup was considered not just a tasty condiment, but a real medicine. It was developed as a remedy for digestive problems and sold in pharmacies. Imagine going in for stomach relief and getting a bottle of ketchup. Today it seems strange, as we are used to ketchup on burgers and fries, but its journey from pharmacies to kitchens was surprisingly interesting. Did you know there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth? Surprisingly, there are more stars in the universe than all the grains of sand on every beach on Earth. This cosmic fact highlights the unimaginable vastness of our universe. When you look at the night sky, there are billions and billions of stars, each potentially home to planets we know nothing about yet. Our place in the cosmos feels even more humbling when you realize that stars fill the space far beyond what we can even imagine. The Great Barrier Reef, a giant natural wonder. The Great Barrier Reef is not only the largest living structure on Earth, but also a bustling underwater city where thousands of species of fish, coral, and other marine creatures reside. It stretches over 2,300 kilometers along Australia's coast and is even visible from space. This natural wonder plays a crucial role in maintaining the ocean's ecosystem by filtering water and providing shelter for marine life. Unfortunately, climate change and ocean pollution threaten its existence. Scientists worldwide are working to preserve this astonishing underwater world for future generations. Did you know ice can take more than one familiar form? We usually think of ice as frozen water, but did you know there are over 17 different types of ice? The most common type we encounter daily is known as ice. However, depending on pressure and temperature, water can form other crystalline structures, each with unique properties. For example, under high pressure, water can turn into hexagonal or even cubic ice. These forms of ice occur in nature under rare conditions, such as deep ocean trenches or on icy moons. This shows how incredibly versatile and complex water molecules are, adapting to various environments. Did you know the world's smallest dog weighs just half a kilogram? Meet Millie, a Chihuahua from Puerto Rico, who holds the title of the world's smallest dog. Millie is only 9.65 centimeters tall, or about 3.8 inches, and weighs around 500 grams, just over 1 pound. When she was born in 2011, she was so tiny that she had to be fed through a pipette. Millie has earned her place in the Guinness World Records as the smallest living dog, and her tiny size makes her a true star among dog lovers. Did you know that there is a country where money is made of plastic? In Australia, all banknotes are made of polymer, not paper. This makes them much more durable and harder to counterfeit. Australian polymer money can last up to 2.5 times longer than paper notes and can easily withstand humidity and even being submerged in water. In fact, due to this technology, plastic has become the currency material of choice for more than 30 countries. Additionally, Australian money can be cut in half, and each half is still considered legal tender until replaced. Can you imagine a shoe the size of a car? In 2015, an Indian shoemaking company crafted the world's largest shoe, measuring a whopping 6.4 meters in length and almost 3 meters in height. This colossal shoe is the equivalent of a US size 2090 and was made from leather, rubber, and foam. It's hard to imagine anyone wearing it, but it's certainly a record-breaking feat of craftsmanship. Did you know the world's smallest horse weighs less than a dog? Thumbelina, the world's smallest horse, stands at just 43 centimeters tall and weighs only 26 kilograms. Born in 2001 with a genetic condition causing dwarfism, Thumbelina may be tiny, but she has a big heart. She works as a therapy animal, bringing joy to children and the elderly with her adorable presence. Believe it or not, the world's smallest volcano is just 13 meters high. The smallest volcano in the world is called Cuexcomate, located in Puebla, Mexico. This tiny volcano stands only 13 meters tall and has a width of 8 meters, making it quite miniature compared to others. It was formed in 1064 due to an eruption from the nearby Popocatépetl volcano. While Cuexcomate is classified as dormant, it sometimes releases steam and sulfur gases, reminding visitors of its volcanic nature. Fun fact, you can actually climb this volcano, making it a perfect adventure for those looking to scale a pint-sized peak. Is it true that you can see kangaroos on the streets in Australia? Absolutely true. In some Australian cities, there are so many kangaroos that they hop around the streets like regular pedestrians. They're especially common in Canberra, where kangaroos even cause traffic jams. Locals are used to this sight, but it's always a surprise for tourists. In these cities, there are even special signs warning drivers about tail-walking pedestrians. Pteronophobia, an unusual fear you might not know about. Did you know that the fear of being tickled by feathers has its own name? It's called pteronophobia, and it's characterized by an irrational fear of being tickled by feathers or even by feathers themselves. While this phobia is rare, it can cause significant stress and anxiety for those who suffer from it. This unusual fear is yet another example of how unique human fears can be and how they can impact daily life. Polar bears are invisible to infrared cameras. Polar bears are true masters of camouflage. Thanks to their thick layer of fat and dense fur, they are perfectly insulated from the Arctic cold. But what's truly surprising is that these furry giants are almost invisible to infrared cameras. It's as if they have a natural invisibility cloak, making them the ultimate champions in the game of hide and seek. Good luck spotting them with a thermal camera. Did you know that koalas have fingerprints just like humans? Yes, these fluffy Australian creatures have fingerprints that are almost identical to those of humans. Their intricate and unique patterns are so similar that if a koala left a print at a crime scene, it could be mistaken for a human's. This surprising similarity adds to their charm, making them even more fascinating. Nature never ceases to amaze, creating such unexpected similarities between species. Imagine koalas as little detectives leaving their own unique traces in the eucalyptus forests. How did the term honeymoon originate, and what does it have to do with honey? The term honeymoon traces back to ancient Babylonian culture. It turns out that after a wedding, the bride's father would provide the newlyweds with a month's supply of honey and mead, a fermented honey drink. This ritual was believed to ensure happiness and fertility in the early days of marriage. Because of this tradition, the first month of marriage became known as the honeymoon, and this idea has endured through the ages, becoming a symbol of romantic getaways for newlyweds. Why do owls have asymmetrical ears? Owls are not only known for their sharp eyes, but also for their unique ears, which are placed asymmetrically on their heads. This unusual arrangement allows them to pick up sounds in 3 dimensions, pinpointing the location of prey, even if it's hidden under a layer of snow or leaves. This special auditory adaptation makes owls masters of nighttime hunting, capable of seeing the world through sounds. It explains why they're so successful as nocturnal predators. Imagine for them, every rustle is like a flash of light in the dark. Did you know Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky? When you look up at the night sky, you probably notice a bright star shining more brilliantly than all the others. That's Sirius, also known as the Dog Star. Located in the constellation Canis Major, Sirius has a magnitude of -1.46, making it the brightest star visible from Earth. Although it seems close, Sirius is about 8.6 light-years away, adding a sense of mystery and wonder to the night sky. Did you know that in Egypt, there is an ancient lighthouse that has been working for over 2,000 years? The lighthouse in Alexandria is one of the oldest structures still performing its function. It was built in the 3rd century BC and serves as an important navigation point for sailors. Although the original tower was destroyed by earthquakes, its reconstruction in later centuries allowed the lighthouse to remain operational. This lighthouse is not only a symbol of ancient technology, but also a testament to engineering mastery that has stood the test of time. Amazingly, octopuses have 3 hearts. Octopuses are fascinating creatures with 3 hearts. One pumps blood to the body, and the other 2 pump blood through the gills. Moreover, their blood is blue because it contains copper instead of iron. This makes octopuses not only mysterious, but also some of the most unique creatures on Earth. It's hard to imagine that nature could create such amazing beings with such a unique system. Butterflies taste with their feet. Butterflies travel the world not just by flying, but by walking on their food. They have taste receptors located right on their feet, giving them a sort of built-in gourmet GPS. These special sensors allow butterflies to quickly find the perfect leaves to lay their eggs. Imagine living in a world where you don't taste with your mouth, but with your feet. Butterflies live in that curious reality every day. Wow, sunflowers follow the sun. Sunflowers are not just stunning flowers. Young sunflowers are natural sun trackers. This phenomenon, called heliotropism, allows them to turn their heads throughout the day to follow the sun's movement from east to west. This remarkable ability helps sunflowers optimize sunlight absorption for photosynthesis, boosting their growth. As they mature, they stop following the sun and permanently face east. This fascinating behavior illustrates how plants adapt to their environment to thrive. Why do lightning bolts often strike the same place? Lightning strikes tend to favor certain spots. For example, Lake Victoria in Africa is one of the most lightning-prone places in the world. Why does this happen? It's due to unique climate conditions that create almost continuous thunderstorms. Warm air rising from the lake's surface meets cooler air currents, triggering constant electrical discharges. Here's what's even more interesting. Lightning can strike the same place several times in a short period, and it's not a myth. Researchers found that high ground conductivity also plays a key role in attracting lightning to specific spots. Did you know that the first blogs appeared just a quarter of a century ago? It's hard to imagine the internet without blogs today, but did you know the first use of the word blog was recorded only in 1997? The term was a contraction of weblog, literally meaning internet diary. Back then, Blogs were simple online journals where people shared their thoughts and experiences. However, as with everything on the internet, blogs evolved. Today, they cover everything from personal notes to global news, professional advice, and guides on any topic. They have become a powerful tool for self-expression, communication, and even business. Can you imagine that what started as a hobby has grown into a way to shape public opinion and the flow of information? What if I told you that you can boil water just by shaking it? Yes, it's true, although practically impossible to do. If you shake a container of water fast and hard enough, you can create friction, which will raise the water's temperature. Theoretically, if you shake it quickly enough, you could even bring the water to a boil. This unusual physics experiment shows how mechanical energy can be converted into heat. While you won't be making tea this way, the mere possibility that shaking could boil water is astonishing. Did you know the ancient Inca city could withstand earthquakes? Machu Picchu, the famous Inca city, was built using an ingenious technology that allowed it to withstand earthquakes. Located in a highly seismic zone, the Incas used a technique called ashlar masonry, where stones were so precisely cut that they fit together without mortar. During an earthquake, the stones could move slightly and then return to their original positions, keeping the structures intact. This brilliant engineering made the Incas true masters of ancient architecture. Infinite combinations, a deck of cards, and the vastness of the universe. The number of ways to shuffle a standard 52-card deck is mind-blowing. This figure is known as the factorial of 52 and equals a number with 60 zeros. This means that every time you shuffle a deck, you are likely creating a combination that has never existed before and will never be repeated. So next time you play cards, remember, you have a whole universe of possibilities in your hands. Have you ever wondered that in Italy there is an exploding vegetable garden? In the Italian village of Trevestare, there is an astonishing phenomenon. Plants in local vegetable gardens can literally explode under certain weather conditions. This happens due to the accumulation of gas in the soil, which, with sudden changes in pressure or temperature, can cause small bursts. The locals call this phenomenon the Garden of Fire. Science does not yet have a clear explanation, but it has become a part of local culture and a tourist attraction. Did you know that there are fish that can live without water? The climbing perch can leave the water and crawl on land for several days. This fish has the unique ability to absorb oxygen directly from the air and even walk using its fins. Thanks to a special structure in its gills, it can breathe atmospheric air. It uses its strong tail to move across the ground, almost like a small lizard. It turns out that icebergs have colorful stripes. Depending on the composition and conditions of formation, icebergs can be striped in green, blue, yellow, or even black. Green stripes are formed due to algae, blue due to dense ice, and yellow and brown due to iron presence. These colorful stripes are only visible in bright sunlight, making them even more mysterious and rare natural phenomena. Did you know that elephants can hear with their feet? Elephants have a unique ability to sense sound waves through the ground. Their sensitive feet can detect vibrations from several kilometers away. These vibrations help elephants detect approaching predators or other herds. Furthermore, they use this ability to communicate with each other over long distances, transmitting signals and warnings. This sensitivity makes elephants remarkable animals, capable of hearing what is imperceptible to human ears. Imagine for a moment. The Sahara Desert is the largest desert on Earth. The Sahara Desert is not just a desert, it's a giant oven. Covering over 9 million square kilometers, it is the largest hot desert in the world. It spans much of North Africa, covering an area roughly the size of China or the United States. Temperatures in the Sahara can soar up to 58 degrees Celsius, about 136 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the hottest places on Earth. Who would have thought that jellyfish are 95% water? Jellyfish are almost ethereal in appearance, and no wonder. 95% of their bodies are made of water. This high water content allows them to float gracefully through the ocean, moving with the currents as if weightless. Despite their simple structure, jellyfish have existed for hundreds of millions of years, perfectly adapted to life in the ocean. Their delicate, watery forms remind us of the fragility and beauty of marine ecosystems. Can you believe that the world's oldest cheese was found in a tomb over 3,000 years old? In 2014, archaeologists in China made an incredible discovery: the world's oldest cheese, buried in the tomb of a nobleman from the Bronze Age. Dating back to the 16th century BCE, this ancient cheese was made from a mixture of cow, goat, and sheep's milk. Thanks to the unique burial conditions, the cheese was well preserved, with a crumbly texture and a salty flavor. Interestingly, the bacteria used to make this cheese had consumed the lactose during fermentation, making it lactose-free. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, and even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. Can you believe that in the USA there was once a rain of spiders? In the small town of Golden, Colorado, in 2015, an unusual natural phenomenon occurred, which locals called the rain of spiders. Thousands of spiders fell from the sky, filling the streets and yards. Scientists explain this by the fact that spiders use a technique called ballooning, where they take off into the sky on their webs and travel great distances using wind. This phenomenon can be observed in various parts of the world, but such a massive rain shocked the locals. Incredibly, a blue whale's heartbeat can be heard from 2 miles away. The heart of the blue whale, the largest animal on the planet, beats so powerfully that it can be heard up to 2 miles, 3.2 kilometers, away. This amazing fact shows just how enormous and powerful these ocean giants are. A blue whale's heart weighs as much as a car, pumping blood through arteries so wide a person could swim through them. Imagine, this natural machine sets the rhythm of an entire ocean. Astronauts don't float in zero gravity like we think. Many people believe that astronauts experience total weightlessness in space, but that's a common misconception. In reality, they are constantly falling toward Earth, but at such a high speed that they never crash into it. This continuous fall gives them the feeling of being weightless, a fantastic example of how the laws of physics turn space into a magical realm of floating. How would you react if I told you there's a building that's built inside out? In Dubai, one of the most unique skyscrapers in the world is Khian Tower. This 73-story skyscraper is twisted 90 degrees along its vertical axis. This gives it a distinctive architectural and engineering design. It creates the impression that the building is twisted like a giant spiral. It symbolizes an innovative approach to construction and has become one of the city's main attractions. Did you know almonds and peaches are relatives? It turns out that almonds and peaches are members of the same plant family, Rosaceae. These two fruits are distant cousins in the plant world. Despite their differences, they share many biological traits. So next time you enjoy almonds or peaches, remember that your favorite snacks are actually relatives, and nature is full of surprising connections. Did you know that Neptune was discovered using math? Neptune is the only planet whose existence was predicted through mathematical calculations before it was seen through a telescope. In the 19th century, astronomers noticed that Uranus's orbit didn't match expectations, and they hypothesized that this was caused by the gravitational pull of an unknown planet. After calculations and extensive observation, Neptune was discovered, marking a triumph of science. This fact shows how powerful math is. It helped discover an entire planet long before it could be seen. Is the 10,000 steps a day just a myth? We often hear that walking 10,000 steps a day is essential for good health. But did you know that this number isn't scientifically backed? The figure originated in the 1960s as part of a marketing campaign for a Japanese pedometer, whose name translates as 10,000 steps. It was simply a catchy slogan that stuck in the culture, but in reality, there is no specific scientific data that confirms that exactly 10,000 steps is the magic number. The number of steps needed to stay healthy can vary from person to person. Hard to believe, but snakes can sleep with their eyes open. Snakes don't blink because they don't have eyelids. Instead, their eyes are covered by a transparent scale. During sleep, their eyes remain open, giving the impression that they are always watching their surroundings. This feature helps snakes stay alert to threats, even while resting. The transparent scale also protects their eyes from dust and dirt, which is especially important for desert and forest dwellers. It's an incredible adaptation that allows them to sense danger even in their sleep. Throw an apple. Declare your love. The romance of ancient Greece. In ancient Greece, throwing an apple at someone was a symbol of love. This gesture meant a declaration of love and was equivalent to a marriage proposal. The apple was associated with the goddess Aphrodite, which added even more romantic meaning to the action. If the person caught the thrown apple, it meant they accepted the feelings. Modern life may not have such gestures, but this fact shows how much cultural norms have changed over time. Is it possible that earthworms can regenerate their bodies? Yes, it's true. If an earthworm loses part of its body, it can regenerate the lost segment. However, contrary to popular myths, if you cut a worm in half, only the part with the head will survive. Regeneration in earthworms is a fascinating process, but it's not as magical as some may think. Imagine being able to regrow parts of your body as if nothing ever happened. Can you imagine that bananas are actually berries? Despite their shape and size, bananas are, botanically speaking, berries. It all comes down to how they develop from a flower. But here's the twist. Strawberries, which we often think of as berries, technically aren't. Although bananas look more like a fruit, their internal structure and growth process mark them as true berries. So, next time you enjoy a banana, remember you're eating a bona fide berry. Who would have thought that the world's most pierced man has over 500 piercings? British IT specialist Rolf Boltz holds the title of the most pierced man in the world, with a staggering 516 piercings. His body is adorned with horn implants, stretched earlobes, and tattoos. Known as the man with horns, Rolf enjoys the attention his unique appearance brings. Despite his unusual looks, Rolf says that his piercings are a form of self-expression, and he loves the reaction they provoke. Turns out there are bridges that speak. In some places, such as the Millennium Bridge in London, special plates emit sounds when people walk on them. These sounds are designed to resemble whispers or voices, creating a unique atmosphere. Especially at night, such a bridge becomes a real attraction, drawing tourists with its mystical sounds. Why do skunks smell so bad? It turns out that their smell is their main defense mechanism, and it's so powerful that it can scare off most predators from hundreds of meters away. The secret lies in the sulfur-containing chemicals they release from special glands near their tails. And get this, the smell can linger for days on objects and even in the air. Who would have thought that such a small animal could have such a weapon of mass destruction? Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute, it serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding on to each other, they form small floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. Hard to believe, but the largest iceberg was the size of Jamaica. The largest iceberg ever recorded broke off from the Ross Ice Shelf in Antarctica in 1986. It was about 280 kilometers long and 80 kilometers wide, making its area comparable to the size of Jamaica. This gigantic iceberg was so massive it could easily have housed entire cities. It drifted in the ocean for several years, slowly melting. Did you know that 2 to 3% of people don't need deodorant? Yes, it's true. About 2 to 3% of the population has a genetic mutation that prevents the production of unpleasant body odor associated with sweating. These people can engage in sports and physical activity without worrying about body odor. This happens because they lack the necessary bacteria that break down sweat and create unpleasant smells. This discovery sheds light on the diversity of human genetics and how we perceive body odors. The story of ink saving. How a period saved a newspaper. Thousands of dollars. How important do you think a tiny change in logo design could be? In 1967, the New York Times decided to remove the period at the end of its name. This decision wasn't driven by aesthetics but by savings. The newspaper calculated that dropping the period could save them a significant amount of ink, around $600 a year, which today equals approximately $6,000. While such an amount may seem insignificant at first, for publishers, It became an example of how even the smallest changes can lead to substantial resource savings. Imagine how one small decision could impact the budget of an entire company. Elephants can mourn and grieve their lost ones. When a member of their herd dies, elephants display deep empathy and support. The others gather around the body, gently touching it with their trunks, as if saying goodbye. Some even cover the body with branches or leaves and later return to the spot as if visiting a grave. This behavior shows just how connected elephants are and how deeply they can experience emotions. It's a reminder that understanding loss and respecting the departed is not just a human trait. Brazil, the country with the greatest biodiversity. Brazil is home to 15 to 20% of all the world's biodiversity. It houses more than 120,000 species of invertebrates, about 9,000 species of vertebrates, and over 4,000 species of plants. Every year, around 700 new species of animals and plants are discovered in Brazil. This rich biodiversity is not only vital for ecology, but also holds immense potential for economic development and scientific discovery. Did you know that in Iceland there is a beach that constantly changes shape? On Iceland's southern coast, there is a black sand beach that constantly changes its shape depending on weather conditions and tides. Each year, locals and tourists notice that the beach's outlines shift significantly. New dunes appear in some places, while the sand disappears entirely in others. This phenomenon is caused by strong winds and underwater currents that transport the sand along the coastline. The beach is considered one of Iceland's most mysterious natural sights.